Kathmandu, a city alive with color, sound, and spirit. The air hummed with energy. Prayer flags fluttered in the breeze. The scent of incense filled the air. I wandered through ancient temples and bustling markets. The energy was infectious. I felt a buzz of anticipation. My journey to Everest Base Camp was about to begin. This city was just the start. Soon I would be trading these vibrant streets for the rugged trails of the Himalayas. I couldn't wait. The people of Kathmandu welcomed me with warmth. Their smiles were genuine. Their eyes sparkled with kindness. I felt honored to be in their presence. Their spirit was inspiring. It fueled my own excitement for the adventure ahead. Kathmandu was a feast for the senses. The food was delicious. The music was captivating. The culture was rich and inviting. But I knew my journey had a greater purpose. The mountains were calling. It was time to answer. The plain was small. The mountains were huge. We soared through the air, the Himalayas looming large around us. It was a thrilling flight. My heart raced with excitement and a touch of fear. This was an adventure unlike any other. We landed at Tenzing Hillary Airport in Lukla. It is one of the most dangerous airports in the world. The runway is short, the mountains are steep, but our pilot landed the plane with expertise. I breathed a sigh of relief. We were safe. Stepping off the plane, the air was thin and crisp. I felt the altitude immediately. It was a reminder that I was now in the Himalayas. This was a place of extremes, a place of beauty and danger. Excitement coursed through me. This was the start of my trek. The air was charged with anticipation. The mountains beckoned. The adventure had begun. The trail from Lukla to Phakding wound its way through lush green forests. The air was filled with the sound of rushing water. Prayer wheels spun gently, sending blessings into the air. Every step I took was a step closer to my goal. I crossed suspension bridges adorned with prayer flags. Below me, the Dudkoshi River roared. The power of nature was on full display. The mountains seemed to watch over me. Their peaks touched the sky. I shared the trail with fellow trekkers. We were all united by a common goal, to reach Everest Base Camp. We exchanged greetings and words of encouragement. There was a sense of camaraderie. As the day drew to a close, I reached Phakding. The village was nestled in a valley. It was a welcome sight for sore legs. The tea houses were warm and inviting. I knew I would sleep soundly tonight. The trail to Namche Bazar was steep. It was relentless. Each step was a challenge, but the views were breathtaking. The Himalayas unfolded before me in all their glory. It was worth every effort. As I climbed higher, the air grew thinner. I could feel the altitude taking hold, but I pushed on. I was determined to reach Namche Bazar. It was known as the gateway to Everest. Finally, I reached the top of the ridge. There, spread out before me, was Namche Bazar. It was a sight to behold. The village clung to the side of a mountain. Colorful buildings dotted the landscape. Namche Bazar was a bustling hub of activity. Trekkers, sherpas, and locals mingled in the streets. There was a sense of excitement in the air. I'd reached a milestone on my journey. Section 5. Acclimatization and exploration. A day in Namche. Acclimatization is crucial at high altitudes. I spent a day in Namche Bazar to let my body adjust. I drank plenty of water, I ate nourishing food, and I rested. Namche Bazar was a fascinating place to explore. I wandered through the narrow streets, browsing the shops. I chatted with the friendly locals. I soaked up the atmosphere. I visited the Sherpa Culture Museum. I learned about the history and culture of the Sherpa people. Their resilience and strength were inspiring. They were the true heroes of the Himalayas. In the evening, I joined other trekkers for a traditional Nepali meal. We shared stories of our journeys. We laughed and joked. It was a special moment. Section 6. Tengbok, where prayer flags flutter in thin air. The trail to Tengboche was challenging but rewarding. It was a steady climb through rhododendron forests. The air was fragrant with the scent of pine. The views were simply stunning. I reached Tengboche Monastery in the late afternoon. It was a spiritual oasis, the monastery perched on a ridge overlooking the Himalayas. Prayer flags fluttered in the wind. I felt a sense of peace wash over me. I attended the evening prayer ceremony at the monastery. The monks chanted ancient mantras. The sound of their voices filled the air with a sense of tranquility. It was a deeply moving experience. Tengboche was a place of reflection and rejuvenation. I felt grateful for the opportunity to experience this special place. I knew I would carry the memory of Tengboche with me long after I left the Himalayas. Section 7, Dingbo, a village in the sky. The trail to Dingbo was rugged and unforgiving. The air grew thinner with every step. I could feel the altitude taking its toll, but I pushed on, my determination fueled by the incredible views. Dingbo was a small village perched high on a plateau. It felt like we were on the roof of the world. The air was thin and crisp. The silence was broken only by the sound of the wind. We spent a day in Dingbo to acclimatize. I took it easy, resting and hydrating. I knew that the next few days would be the most challenging yet. We were getting closer to our goal. The altitude was starting to affect some of the trekkers. Headaches and nausea were common, but everyone was determined to push through. We'd come too far to turn back now. Section 8, Lobuche, the edge of endurance. The trek from Dingbo to Lobuche was brutal. The trail climbed steeply over rocky terrain. The air was thin, the wind was fierce. I felt like I was walking on the edge of endurance. Lobuche was a desolate outpost. The landscape was barren, the air was frigid. I felt the full force of the Himalayas. It was a stark reminder of the power of nature. We huddled together in the dining hall of our lodge. We shared stories and sipped hot tea. We were exhausted but exhilarated. We were so close to our goal. That night, I lay in my sleeping bag. I listened to the wind howling outside. I thought about the journey so far. It had been challenging. It had been rewarding. I was ready for whatever lay ahead. Section 9, Everest Base Camp, a dream realized. The final push to Everest Base Camp was a surreal experience. I walked in a daze, my body aching, my mind raced with anticipation. The landscape was otherworldly. Towering peaks of ice and snow surrounded us, and then there it was, Everest Base Camp. A jumble of colorful tents sprawled across the Khumbu Glacier. I had reached my goal. A wave of emotion washed over me. We celebrated with hugs, high fives, and tears of joy. We had done it. We had trekked to the foot of the world's highest mountain. It was a moment I would never forget. Standing at Everest Base Camp, I felt humbled. I felt grateful. I felt alive. The journey had tested me. It had pushed me to my limits, but it had also shown me the incredible strength of the human spirit. Section 10, Reflections on the Roof of the World. The trek back to Lukla was a blur. My legs ached, my body was exhausted, but my spirit soared. I had conquered Everest Base Camp. I had pushed myself beyond my perceived limits. The Himalayas had left an indelible mark on my soul. I had witnessed breathtaking beauty. I had experienced the kindness of strangers. I had discovered a strength I never knew I possessed. The journey to Everest Base Camp was more than just a trek. It was a journey of self-discovery. It was a testament to the power of perseverance. It was a reminder that anything is possible if you set your mind to it. I left the Himalayas a changed person. I was stronger, I was more confident, I was more grateful for the simple things in life. I will forever cherish the memories of my epic journey to the top of the world.